What's up, channel? What's up, YouTube? What's up, skydivers? Now, if you ever gone out to a 5-minute call and you still have not dirt dived the jump, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and like and comment and share this video. Do all those things that help me grow this channel and continue bringing you new videos. Safety Day is coming up, you guys. Safety Day, if you guys don't know, is the second Saturday in March, and it was started by the United States Parachute Association in order to promote safety as skydivers are coming out of the winter. We don't have winter here in Florida. It's just cooler and windier. But to promote safety, because maybe you guys aren't as current up north, and help try and promote safety and avoid accidents. So I wanted to make this video to remind you guys it's really good to get out to a safety day if your drop zone is having one. I've learned a lot, and especially a lot about piloting jumpers and what to do during an in-flight emergency, in addition to everything I learned during the coach course for safety and during my student course, and everything I've learned over this will be my 8th year skydiving. Oh, it's a long time. Pardon my voice and my cough, you guys. I've been sick like all week, and I'm recovering from that. The whole family's been sick for like 9 days, and it has been challenging, we'll say. Does my hair look good too? So I wanted to make this video to go over my major safety considerations. Now, take in mind, I'm just telling you guys what I do, what I've learned, and kind of the guidelines that I'm going about. I'm not instructing you. You should get with your S&TA, your Safety and Training Advisor, at your drop zone. If you're curious, you have any questions, get with them. These people are appointed by the USPA to promote safety and oversee training at each drop zone. So they're literally the best resource for you. They go through continuous training, and these are super knowledgeable people. So I just want to go over kind of what I'm thinking about before a jump and with my gear and everything like that. So number one, emergency procedures. So you've always got to practice your EPs, right? So you're like, whatever you learned in your student program, you're like, look right, grab right, look left, grab left, peel punch right, peel punch left, right? So I always practice pilot shoot. Oh, something went wrong. Yeah. I do this 3 times per jump. So once when I put on my gear, once at the loading area, and then another time in flight. So, so I accumulate more emergency procedure practices than skydives. This is pretty important because if you're in a high-speed malfunction, your heart rate's going to get jacked, okay? And you need to have a go-to, like, okay, I remember what to do. Bam. I haven't had a cutaway yet, knock on wood, but I know it's coming. I know it's going to happen, and I'm doing my best to prepare for that moment. Now, there's a few in-flight checks that I also like to keep in mind after learning a few things from the pilot. So, before you open the door, we open the door at 1,000 feet here, which literally is you're committing to bailing out above 1,000 feet on your reserve. Well, you want to make sure that everyone has their seat belts off before you open the door, okay? This could be an issue, because if one person doesn't have their seatbelt off and everyone's committed to going out the door, they might get backed up on that person. Now you've got a center of gravity issue in the airplane, and it's no good. So just make sure everybody's ready before you open that door. If there's an aircraft emergency, okay, this is something I learned from the pilot. If you have an engine issue, do not move towards the door, okay? If that engine goes out on the aircraft and skydivers moving towards the door, you're going to screw everything up for that pilot, okay? So don't start shifting around unless the pilot in charge tells you to get the hell out of the aircraft, all right? Now, certain aircraft have different flight characteristics. If you're in a Skyvan, you're going to start dropping like a rock. If you're in a Cessna Caravan, this thing has a pretty good glide ratio. So if you're low, the pilot's probably going to tell you you're landing, okay? It's got a real good glide ratio. And they probably have outs around your drop zone where they've decided, if I have an emergency at this altitude, I'm going here. If you're high, if you're at like 10,000 feet and that Caravan goes out, your pilot might glide you over the drop zone, drop everyone because it's going to improve his glide ratio, and then glide it and attempt to land. If you're in a Twin Otter, usually just one engine goes out, so you can fly on that one engine. You're not gaining altitude. You're probably sinking on a full load, from what I've been told. But if you only have like 9 jumpers in there, you could probably fly it. The Twin Otter is a very good jump aircraft for this reason. But as always, don't start shifting around. You don't want to start moving that center of gravity because the pilot's going to have to be focusing a lot. So if there's an in-flight emergency, listen to what the pilot says and try and stay calm. Take deep breaths. Try and stay calm. All right, number 2, let's talk about gear. So I went over this, what I looked for gear when I was buying used, but you always want to make sure that your reserve is in date. You get that repack every 6 months. Check your canopy and your lines every day after a day of jumping. And if you've done 5, 6, 7, 10 jumps, untwist your brake lines, guys. You should untwist your brake lines regularly. This is going to avoid tension knots and other issues that you might have. So make sure you check your gear. You guys should be jumping with an AAD. If you're not jumping with an AAD, save up. Save up. Do one less jump per day and get that AAD and really fly conservatively until you get it. Like, seriously. All right, now let's talk about the actual skydiving things that we do. Look, if we're not that experienced, we got a few hundred jumps each. So on a belly jump, we feel pretty comfortable with our skill level, and we'll do, a 10 to 12 way round. We'll turn a couple points, but we prefer to be the least experienced skydivers in that group. If you're doing a 12 way and you have 300 jumps and you're the most experienced skydiver, you've added a lot of unknowns into that equation. I prefer to just have like one unknown to work with, right? So like 1 or 2 people that we've never jumped with before, something like that. So if we're adding A or B licensed jumpers with us and we just met you for the first time, we'll probably stick to a group of 4, maybe 5 if you only got 100, 200 jumps. But we prefer, 2 experienced jumpers, relatively experienced compared to just getting your A license, and then 2 inexperienced. Now we have before done like, let's do a 6-way round. We'll throw 1 A license jumper in there and then have you pull in place. You're used to pulling like 4 or 5 or whatever, or 4. And that makes it fun for them, and we could just track away from them and keep an eye on so we know that we're being safe with that person. So those are sort of our guidelines. If we're doing anything more complex like a raft jump, we're getting a load organizer. We're getting someone who knows what the heck they're doing and helping us out and deferring to their judgment, okay? Angle flying. This is something I've been getting into and learning a lot about. Now, angle flying increases the risk of a collision during a skydive. You're going 140, 150 miles an hour, getting almost head down. And the issue comes if someone's out here and you start tracking away and they're coming down. Man, you could have some serious collisions. And I've heard from a lot more experienced skydivers that have experienced collisions, like how rough that can be. It can knock you out, and if you don't have an AAD. But when angle flying, I always have a load organizer lead the jump. If you're new to angle flying, you got 20, 30, 50 jumps, you should not be leading, in my opinion. And at my skill level, I stick to groups of 4 or 5 max. And so I want that super skilled person leading the jump, planning the direction, planning any turns upwind if that's happening. And you got to make sure that people can stick it on a track jump before we start trying to take it steeper. especially if there's like a second ankle group, you need that load organizer to make sure that they're going in the right direction, you're not getting turned around. Because I have been on jumps where less experienced people were trying to lead the angle, and they were heading right back towards jump run, and then right at deployment time, they're in somebody else's column of air, they're deployed, and then that group is coming down almost right on top of them. That stuff scares me, you guys. Like, I understand skydiving is not a safe sport, but you got to try and do things safely, because we all want to get more jumps in the future. You can't jump if you're knocked out and meteoring towards the ground. So that's sort of my guidelines on angle flying. So number 5, look, when we're jumping with new people, if you're new to us, we're gonna keep it a small jump. Okay, the first couple of jumps. If you were like, oh, well, your skill level's there, closer to where we are, maybe you're better than we are, then we can expand from there. But that first jump or two, we want to keep it kind of tight and learn how you fly. It's not that we don't like you, it's that we got a family here to raise, and we just want to stay safe and get fun jumps in, you guys. Now let's talk about wins. I learned this from Jay Russ out of Skydive Chicago. He says their team will not jump in more than a 10 mile per hour spread. I'm like, well, he's got close to 30,000 skydives. So if he's doing that, maybe I definitely need to be doing that. So my wind guidelines right now are up to 22 miles per hour. If it's one gust over that, I'm done. And even then, if it's gusting to 22 pretty regularly, I'm really going to start to think, if it's the chance is that it's going to gust up over that, out of my comfort zone, and then really above like 25 miles per hour, I'm coming straight down. So if it gusts any more than that, I'm flying backwards. I don't want to be flying backwards anymore, you guys. We try and stay below a 10 mile per hour spread. So if it's 4 gusting 15, that's a no-go. If it's 17 to 20, that's no problem. And it's just where I am now. You get into those higher winds. I've jumped in them before. I've jumped in gusty conditions. I don't like when my canopy's coughing and spitting around like that. Plus, I just don't have the wing loading to get much penetration at like 22 miles per hour. So I really got to focus on calculating my free fall speed. I think I'm gonna make another video on calculating your free fall drift, you guys, and figuring out where the spot is gonna be. You wanna know where your spot is. Those are pretty much the guidelines that I've been jumping with recently. Again, don't take any advice from here and apply it without running it by your S&TA. This is just what I learned and what I'm applying to my own jumps. And I feel like this is a pretty conservative way to jump. It's kept me and my wife pretty safe so far, and we want to continue jumping, as much as we can over the years, and live a fun and happy life doing it. So I definitely encourage you guys to go to your drop zones safety day, and if you're not, pull your gear out, do a good gear check, make sure you do your riser maintenance and your 3-ring maintenance, and check your canopy, run your lines, and then go over in your head, what are your considerations for safety, and are you following them, or do you kind of fudge the rules a little bit because you want to have some fun? We try and stick to this as much as possible, and it's worked for us. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and let me know what your guidelines are, what your canopy wing loading is, and your experience level, and then if anything's changed on that, because I'm definitely interested to hear what you guys do for safety, especially you newer jumpers. You may not have clearly defined what your tolerances are for winds, or adding people to groups, and you may just not know yet. So hit me up in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think.